What's going on, everyone? I am just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about the history of London. So, here in the United States, we're taught a little bit about British history. Honestly, mostly the stuff that has to do with the US, but we're really not taught anything specifically about London, except that it's the capital of the UK and that it's a very, very important city. So today, I really want to take a look at this video by Majestic Studios and get the entire comprehensive history of London that we are not taught here. So let's take a look.
You're about to witness almost 2,000 years of history in one video. Sit
Oh my
back and relax as we journey through the incredible history of the capital of the United Kingdom, London. Let's go back to
Okay.
where it all began.
The 2,000 years ago? 2,000 years of hit. That's insane. Like, that's something we don't really relate to here in the US. Like, we're relatively young, I think. We're only like 250 years old, the United States. So, the fact that London goes back like 2,000 years is pretty crazy. The Romans.
The
The
year is
Romans?
43 AD. 4 Roman legions
Okay.
have just landed on the Kent coast and they're pushing inland. They need a place to cross the Thames, somewhere they can build a bridge and establish supply lines back to the continent.
Okay.
They find it here, at the river's lowest crossing point, before it widens into an estuary.
Oh, wow.
Within a decade, Londinium is bustling.
Londinium. That's like is that the first name of this settlement? It's just like that. Isn't that just amazing? That's how things like work. I mean, maybe to some people it's not that incredible, but sometimes I just think like cuz it's hard for modern day people like us to relate to sailing across oceans and exploring, literally exploring new lands, finding this river and being like, let's build a literal settlement here. Let's build a city. Like, who can relate to that? Like, that doesn't happen like these days, you know? Like, this is literally, I don't know, thinking about like how the history actually happened for these people it's amazing, really. And it's amazing how almost simple they make it seem. Like, yeah, we came across this river in England and we were like, it makes sense to build it here. Like, that's the origin. Okay.
Merchants from Gaul, soldiers from Syria, traders from North Africa. The Romans build their bridge exactly where London Bridge stands today.
What?
Around it, a port town springs up almost overnight.
Wow.
But 17 years after its founding, disaster strikes.
So this was initially a Roman thing. Okay, I didn't know. God, it's trust me when I say for Americans, it's this history, especially the British history or European history, we're not very good at it. So obviously, like I've heard of Rome and Romans and a lot of that stuff. Actually, they do try to teach us, but I didn't know the connection to like the UK and London.
Queen Boudica of the Iceni tribe has had enough of Roman occupation. Her army marches on Londinium and burns it to the ground.
What?
Archaeological digs have found a layer of red ash beneath the modern city, evidence of that destruction.
Where did she come from? Who is she? What? So Romans, the first settlement in this area of where London would be was Londinium and it was Romans, but then it sounds like the native inhabitants, whoever was there, like in the area of England or the UK, came and didn't like the Romans being there and destroyed it all. Oh my God. That's And it's amazing how that was probably, that's like a huge, very significant event. And it's just like a blip in the history of London. This is just like 2 minutes into the history.
The Romans rebuild, bigger than before.
Oh,
They construct a massive wall around the city,
oh,
parts of which still stand 2,000 years later.
that's unbelievable to me. That's insane. That's literally a 2,000-year-old wall built by Romans, and it's still in London. Can you like touch it? Can, if this was in the U.S., people would try to like steal it or something. This wouldn't work here. It's good we don't have historical artifacts like this in the open. So they tried to destroy or kick out the Romans. It just didn't work, and they rebuilt Rome, or they rebuilt London, or what would be London, even bigger.
At its peak, Londinium is home to maybe 60,000 people, the largest city in Britannia. Amphitheatres,
Britannia?
bathhouses, forums.
This literally looks like Rome, right? Like a Roman city.
This isn't some frontier outpost anymore. It's a proper Roman city.
Oh my
Then,
god.
by around 410 AD, Rome itself is crumbling. Barbarian tribes are hammering the empire from all sides, and Britain is too far away, too expensive to defend. Emperor Honorius sends word, "You're on your own." The legions pull out. Without Rome, Londinium's entire economy collapses.
What? This is fascinating. Like, this is really interesting. I don't know why they don't teach us about this. This is riveting. It's like a movie, except it's real. It's Rome was being like badly attacked, so the Romans couldn't support Londinium, this settlement anymore. So they just left? So there's just like a ghost town there, or were the native English people or whoever were there at the time, the natives, like were they happy about this, upset about this, or?
The trade networks that brought wine from Gaul and olive oil from Spain simply stop. Roman currency becomes worthless. The merchants leave, the officials leave,
What?
skilled craftsmen leave. Within a generation, a city of perhaps 50,000 people dwindles to a few hundred squatters living in the ruins.
What is that? This is true? I would never, ever have thought this would be part of the history. That it was this great, amazing place. I mean, that's what we think of it as today, but I didn't know it had to go through all of this to get there. We're barely into this either, by the way. It's dead. It's a ghost town. It's overgrown, and there's nothing there. It's just hard to imagine London like this picture.
For the next 2 centuries, the grand buildings slowly fall apart. Roofs cave in, walls crumble, weeds
What?
push through mosaic floors. But the Thames keeps flowing, and rivers have a way of attracting new people with new ideas about what a city should be.
Sure, that's like kind of why they built it there in the first place. It's like a advantageous part of the River Thames, I guess. The Saxons. I've heard the name, the Saxons. I just don't know who the Saxons are.
The Saxons who settle in Britain after the Romans leave don't particularly like cities. They're farmers, village people. They actually avoid the old Roman city, seeing it as haunted, cursed. One Saxon poet calls the ruins the work of giants. They can't imagine how mere humans could have built such massive structures.
It's like Egypt. It's like the pyramids. How like we like to this day can't imagine like how they built those things. That's like the Saxons like go into the remains of Londinium and are like, how did people build this? It was just a couple hundred years later though, right? Maybe they thought it was aliens too. Like people thought aliens built the pyramids. Or maybe aliens did build London. Who knows? Saxons. Where are they from? Are they like indigenous to the UK or that area, or do they come from somewhere else? They didn't really explain that.
Instead, around the 670s, they build a new settlement about a mile west of the Roman walls.
What?
They call it Lundenvic, London Trading Town.
Is that just a coincidence? This is London Vic next to what was Londinium? Are they alluding to that name?
This is where modern Covent Garden and the Strand are today.
Oh.
If you're watching a performance at the Royal Opera House, you're sitting directly above Saxon London. By the early 700s, goods are flowing in from all over.
Oh.
Amber from the Baltic, millstones and wine jars from the Rhineland, pottery and metalwork from France and Germany. At its peak, Lundenvic might have 8,000 people living there.
Okay.
Not
It's a far cry from like the 60,000 in the Londinium that the Romans built, but obviously being on the river and being in this area like attracts people.
Not huge by Roman standards, but thriving. But then, the
What?
Vikings arrive.
Why? How many times is this going to happen where there's some like catastrophic event? I keep thinking they're going to say like, oh, and then London Vic, lived happily ever after and became London. Now the Vikings are here.
Starting in the late 8th century, Norse raiders keep hitting the settlement. These aren't just raids anymore. They're coming up the Thames in force. In 842, they sack Lundenvic completely.
Oh my
In
god.
851, they do it again.
What?
King Alfred the Great finally has enough. In 886, he retakes London from the Danes and does something clever. He abandons Lundenvic and moves everyone back inside the old Roman walled city, which is
What?
much easier to defend.
What?
He repaired
That I wasn't expecting that. This literally sounds like this could be a movie. That's crazy that this is real history. I didn't know what to expect, but I guess I wasn't expecting all this. This is drama. So, literal Vikings are attacking, ruining Lundenvic, and the people decide to move back into the ruins. They're like, forget it. I don't care if there are ghosts. I don't care. And they're rebuilding Londinium.
the ancient walls, recuts the defensive ditches. The city is now called Lundenburg, London Fortress.
Okay.
Lundenvic is left empty, gradually earning a new name, Eldvic, the old settlement.
Okay.
That name survives today as Aldwych, the curved street in central London.
That's so cool how so many of these places exist and you wouldn't even really know it. You're just driving down the street in London and you're on this 2,000-year-old ancient Viking village or sacked by Vikings.
Over the next century and a half, the city changes hands multiple times between Saxon and Danish rulers.
Oh.
In 1060,
Hold on. I have to look up who the Saxons are. Saxons. Who are the Saxons? Germanic people from northern Germany migrated to Britain. Oh, so they're from Germany. Okay. It's them versus Danish Vikings. Okay.
King Canute, yes, the one from the legend about commanding the tide, makes London his capital.
Oh.
When Edward the Confessor becomes king in 1042, he builds Westminster Abbey just west of the city.
Wow.
That decision will shape London's geography forever.
So this is big. This is big things. The Saxons and their king, or whoever the king of all this is building these amazing structures. They're formally naming it London. Things are happening.
A city for commerce, Westminster for power. Edward the Confessor dies childless in January 1066.
Oh God.
And England tears itself apart over who should rule next. Harold Godwinson is crowned king, but across the Channel, William, Duke of Normandy, claims Edward promised him the throne.
Oh.
In September, Harold has to march north to fight off a Norwegian invasion. He wins, but he's barely caught his breath when news arrives. William has landed on the south coast with 7,000 Norman soldiers. Harold rushes his exhausted army south and meets William at Hastings on October 14th. By nightfall, Harold is dead, and William has won England.
I don't know if you've watched Game of Thrones. It's been a while since I was out, but I think for most of us Americans here, we think of that as like, oh, that's like fantasy. That's literally like, could be based off this. This is crazy. And the fact that it's like true history.
On Christmas Day 1066, he's crowned King of England at Westminster Abbey.
Wow.
The Anglo-Saxon era is over. The Normans have arrived, and they're going to rebuild England in their own image.
Oh, wow.
Starting with London.
Oh, wow. Okay. I can't believe things shook out the way they did to this day. Like, so many different things happened. This could have gone so many different ways. But, yeah, the leadership of London has changed like 3 times already here. Medieval London.
William doesn't entirely trust London's population. They supported Harold after all.
Sure.
So he builds not 1, but 3 fortresses to keep them in line.
Oh my God.
The biggest becomes the Tower of London, which starts as a symbol of oppression and will remain a symbol of royal power for the next 1,000 years.
I've heard of that.
The White Tower, its central keep, is a statement in stone.
Haven't heard
90
of this.
feet high, walls 12 feet thick in places. It dominates the skyline, a constant reminder of who's in charge now.
It had to be scary, like being a citizen of London, and like there's a different king, a different ruler. He doesn't trust you, probably doesn't like you. They're building these torture chamber, or whatever the towers are, as like a symbol of oppression. Had to be scary.
Medieval London is cramped, chaotic, and increasingly wealthy. By 1100, maybe 15,000 people live here.
Okay.
The city's merchants form guilds that control trades. Goldsmiths, fishmongers, drapers, mercers. These guilds become so powerful that the king has to negotiate with them.
Haha.
In 1215, when the barons force King John to sign the Magna Carta, London's support is crucial.
Magna Carta. That's something we're taught about here. Magna Carta.
The city extracts its own concessions. The right to elect its own mayor, freedom from arbitrary taxes.
Wow.
London Bridge,
Pretty good.
rebuilt in stone between 1176 and 1209, becomes a city unto itself.
What?
It takes 33 years to build. Shops and houses line both sides.
That's unbelievable. Like the pyramids. That they could do stuff like this back then. Or like 1,000 years ago now.
The bridge has a chapel, a drawbridge, even heads of traitors displayed on spikes as a warning. For over 600 years, it's the only bridge across the Thames in London.
Wow.
Then, in 1348, ships arrive at London's docks carrying rats. And on those rats, fleas. And in
This is the Black Plague, I want to say. This sounds familiar.
those fleas, Yersinia pestis, the Black Death.
Okay, right.
Within 2 years, somewhere between 1/3 and half of London's population is dead.
That's crazy.
The city that had grown to maybe 80,000 people is suddenly half empty.
I forgot about this. This is a huge deal. 50% of the people died. Yeah, this sounds a little familiar to me. We're definitely taught this because it's like extremely dramatic and obviously shaped history of the UK quite a bit.
Entire streets are abandoned. Bodies pile up faster than they can be buried. Mass graves are dug in fields outside the city walls.
Oh my God.
The city recovers, slowly.
Okay.
By the late 14th century, London is growing again.
Okay.
But tensions are rising too. In 1381, peasants and workers march on London, demanding an end to serfdom and unfair taxes.
Okay.
Wat Tyler leads them. They storm the tower, execute the Archbishop of Canterbury, burn the palace of John of Gaunt. The teenage
I don't know if I can if I can support all that, but it's like the United States, we like went into rebellion over taxes. So that's what I feel like a little relationship with this. But geez, they like sacked it over and peasants and stuff rose up, beheaded the archbishop, changed the leadership. I mean, it's amazing stuff like this happened. Like people these days, like even here in the US, talk about like, oh, if the government does this or that, or we ought to overthrow them or uprise. It's like that's a lot of talk, but people actually did this, which is like really cool in a way. Like if they didn't like the circumstances of their life or didn't feel like they were being treated fairly by their rulers or oppressors, and it's just amazing that like this really happened. It's not just talk.
The teenage king Richard II meets with them, makes promises. The peasants' revolt is ultimately crushed.
Oh.
Tyler is killed, the leaders hunted down and executed.
Oh,
But it terrifies the ruling class.
right.
The common people of London have discovered their power,
Yeah.
and they won't forget it.
Good. Good. I like that. Good. Tudor and Stuart era.
By 1500, London's population has rebounded to about 50,000.
Oh, wow.
Then something remarkable happens. It explodes. By 1600, it's 200,000. By 1650, it's nearly 400,000.
Where are they all coming from? Like, well, it just seems like even at this point in history, with boats, and I just have it in my mind that it's really hard to travel like 500 years ago. It just doesn't seem to be like it was difficult, much more difficult, but people did it. They got on the boats or the horses or carriages, and I mean, London is proof of that. People wanted, it was the place to be. It grew from 40,000 to like 400,000 in, sounds like 100 or 150 years.
London becomes the largest city in Europe. Henry VIII's break with Rome in the 1530s transforms the city's landscape. Henry wanted to divorce his first wife, but the Pope refused. So Henry broke away from the Catholic Church, made himself head of the new Church of England, and shut down all the monasteries.
That's
In
bold.
London, monasteries owned massive amounts of land.
Oh.
Once Henry seized it, that property became available. Aristocrats and wealthy merchants bought it up and built grand houses.
Oh.
Suddenly, London had room to expand. Under
Oh.
Queen Elizabeth I, London becomes the cultural capital of Europe. The Globe Theatre opens on the South Bank in 1599.
I've definitely heard of some of these people. King Henry, Elizabeth. I've heard of some of these names, but I didn't know they did all this.
Shakespeare is staging Hamlet, Othello, King Lear. Meanwhile, merchants are getting wealthy from trade with the New World and Asia. The East India Company is founded in 1600, setting the stage for empire. But
Wow.
London has always been vulnerable to two things: disease and fire. The city is built almost entirely of timber with thatched roofs.
That's right. At some point, London catches on fire. Spoiler. But I know that. At some point, London burns down, right?
Dried straw and reeds. Houses are packed close together,
Oh,
upper
God.
floors overhanging narrow streets, nearly touching across the gaps.
I mean, fire hazard aside, it's a really awesome design. Like, this is really cool. Like, we don't have anything like this. I think a lot of this still kind of exists in places in the UK to this day. Like the overhanging houses. It's crazy. It's so cool.
Open fires in every building for cooking and heating.
Oh.
Candles everywhere. No fire departments. It's a tinderbox. Both disaster and disease strike in the 1660s with devastating effect. In
Both?
1665, the plague returns. Not the Black Death exactly, but close enough. At its peak, 7,000 Londoners are dying every week.
It's crazy because, like, obviously for a lot of us, we thought the pandemic was, like, sort of this unprecedented, insane thing to happen. And so many people died, and is real. Obviously, we all know what that was like. But it's fascinating how that's just not the first time it's happened, not even close. Like, and these in London alone, there are two examples of that, and that's just the ones we know about.
The wealthy flee to the countryside. The poor are trapped. By the time it burns out, maybe 100,000 people are dead.
The wealthy people literally just leave the city. They literally just go and live like outside this till it's all better.
A quarter of the city's population.
Wow.
The following year, on September 2nd, 1666, a fire starts in a bakery on Pudding Lane.
Okay.
It's been a hot, dry summer. Strong winds are blowing. The fire spreads faster than anyone thought possible.
So they really didn't worry about this? That's kind of odd. Because London is having so much success and wealth and power, and these people are not stupid. So what a oversight. Like, geez, that this could happen.
For 4 days, London burns. 85% of the city within the walls is destroyed. 13,000 houses gone.
And this is not the first time London has been destroyed in this history. Is there any city on Earth that has gone through more? I'm convinced, like, what more could happen? That's unbelievable how much London has gone through.
87 churches, including the old St. Paul's Cathedral. Remarkably, only about 6 people die in the fire itself.
What?
100,000 are left homeless.
That's a shame, really. Not just because everyone is homeless, but so much beauty and historical buildings and culture was destroyed. That a lot of it might have been around today if this hadn't happened. But
Christopher Wren sees an opportunity. He proposes a completely new city plan. Wide boulevards, classical architecture, open squares.
But if it hadn't happened, you wouldn't have London. This sounds like the blueprint for what London as we know it today would become. So that fire inadvertently created, like, it got rid of the fire sort of threat and issue because it was kind of bound to happen, and paved the way for this grand redesign.
It's an enlightened vision, and it's almost completely rejected. Property rights are too complicated, rebuilding too urgent. Most streets follow their medieval patterns, but the city is rebuilt differently. New building regulations require brick and stone instead of timber and thatch.
Good.
Far more resistant to fire.
Good.
And Wren does get to rebuild St. Paul's Cathedral. The new one, with the iconic dome, takes 35 years to complete.
Wow.
It's still there, dominating the skyline.
So even after this fire, a lot of iconic stuff was created after that. So
One of the few buildings to survive the Blitz centuries later.
the Blitz I've heard about as well. That's like London was attacked, like bombed, right? Maybe they'll get to that though. Some of this stuff is a little familiar to me. Overall, this just all sounds totally nuts and new. But there's then little pieces where it's like, yeah, I've heard, yeah, the Black Death and the fire, right?
18th century London is the centre of the Enlightenment. Coffee houses become the internet of their day, places where ideas and news spread rapidly.
Wow.
Lloyd's Coffee House becomes Lloyd's of London, the insurance market.
Huh.
Jonathan's Coffee House becomes
Don't
the
know it.
London Stock Exchange.
Ha!
London is also becoming the capital of an empire. In 1735, Robert Walpole becomes the first Prime Minister to live at 10 Downing Street, which will remain the official residence for centuries.
Oh, then we're starting to get a little bit to modern history here.
George III buys Buckingham House in 1761 as a private residence for his family. It will eventually become Buckingham Palace.
Ah.
The city is expanding physically too. Westminster Bridge opens in 1750, finally giving London a second crossing after 6 centuries with only London Bridge.
Yeah.
Blackfriars Bridge follows in 1769.
Wow.
After the defeat of
A lot. Wow. Okay. This is a very significant leap. They're calling it the Georgian and Victoria era. This is a significant leap towards like modern day.
After the defeat of Napoleon in 1815, Britain is the dominant world power, and London is where the money flows. Banks, trading houses, shipping companies. Wealth is pouring in from India, the Caribbean, Africa. Then comes the Industrial Revolution, and London transforms yet again.
Huh.
Factories, railways, mass production. In 1801,
So cool.
London has just over 1 million people. By 1851, it's 2.5 million.
Oh my. London just is the place to be. Especially with all this happening, and this is cool. We're almost like to the present, but even hearing about this stuff, like, that's really cool.
By 1901, 6.5 million. It's the largest city in the world.
Oh my god.
The Victorians build on a scale that's hard to comprehend. Trafalgar Square is laid out in the 1840s, commemorating
Wow.
Nelson's victory.
So a lot of iconic stuff, like Buckingham Palace, and a lot of the stuff in London that I thought might have been older is actually like 200 or 300 years old, mostly because of that fire.
Houses of Parliament and Big Ben rise in the 1850s after the old palace burns down. That iconic Gothic revival architecture defining the city's identity.
Yes.
In 1851, the Great Exhibition opens in Hyde Park.
What is this?
Crystal Palace, a massive structure of iron and glass, showcases Britain's industrial dominance to the world. 6 million people visit. It's a moment of supreme confidence.
Oh my god.
Britain at the peak of its power.
What is this place? What's it? I don't know. I didn't know about this place.
The sewage system, still in use today, built by Joseph Bazalgette after the Great Stink of 1858, when the Thames became so polluted, Parliament had to shut down. Bazalgette's sewers finally fixed the problem, channeling waste away from the river.
Whoa. I mean, we're getting into a lot of stuff that's still in use today. It's cool to see when, like, plumbing became a thing. 200 years ago?
Underground, the world's first subway system, opening in 1863.
I'm sorry, the Great Stink. Did anyone hear them say the Great Stink? I want to hear more about that.
The Tower Bridge, an engineering marvel completed in 1894.
Oh, wow.
But Victorian London is also a city of brutal inequality. The rich live in Mayfair and Belgravia in extraordinary comfort. The poor are crammed into East End slums. Cholera outbreaks killed tens of thousands in the 1830s and 1840s. Entire neighbourhoods wiped out by contaminated water.
Oh my god.
It takes a doctor named John Snow proving in 1854 that cholera spreads through water, not air, before anyone fixes the problem.
Oh my god.
Crime is rampant. In 1829, Robert Peel establishes the Metropolitan Police, the first professional police force, nicknamed Bobbies after him.
Bobby, I've heard that term, bobbies. Well, maybe if you didn't have such gross inequality, might be not so much crime. And man, this is so modern, but a lot of issues, unfortunately.
But the city's dark side persists. In 1888, Jack the Ripper terrorizes Whitechapel.
I've heard of
murdering
him.
at least 5 women. He's never caught. The case becomes infamous, a
Yeah.
symbol of Victorian London's dangerous underbelly.
I've heard of that.
Charles Dickens writes about it all. The workhouses, the slums, the children working in factories. The contrast between the world's wealthiest empire and its desperate poor.
I mean, unfortunately, this is like a bit of a pretty dark era in the London. You know, I'm sure a lot of this was going on in the hundreds and thousands of years leading up to this, but it's like maybe now that so many problems have been solved, they could finally like kind of point out like a lot of these quality of life issues, whereas, you know, 1,000 years ago they were more in, inequality was a thing, but they were worried about like Vikings invading or something.
All compressed into the same city.
20th century. Okay.
The 20th century brings London back down to earth. The First World War kills hundreds of thousands of young British men. However, London's main infrastructure survived. But the Second World War brings the war directly to the city. The Blitz.
That's okay, that's a World War II when London was literally like bombed, right? That's unbelievable to me. Like here in the United States, like we have had like our fair share of like traumatic events like Pearl Harbor and 9/11, but I really don't think anything quite like your capital city getting bombed to this. That's unbelievable, and a lot of Americans don't know about that. Like I didn't know about that for a long time. I don't think we talk about it in school. The Blitz. So
Between
yeah.
September 1940 and May 1941, German bombers hit London almost every night. Entire neighborhoods are leveled.
Yeah, the U.S. We've never gone through something like this.
St. Paul's Cathedral miraculously survives. Photographs showing it standing defiant amid the smoke and flames. By the end of the war, 1 million buildings are damaged or destroyed, and almost 500,000 souls from the UK are lost.
It's like so many times London was on the brink of destruction forever, or just the chaos. The history of London is like the most chaotic I have ever heard, for sure.
Post-war London is broke, bombed out, exhausted. The empire is collapsing. India gains independence in 1947. Rationing continues into the 1950s. Fog and coal smoke are so thick that in 1952, the Great Smog kills 12,000 people in just 5 days.
Oh my god.
But London rebuilds, again. The 1951 Festival of Britain, held on the South Bank, signals a new beginning.
London is tenacious. London is inevitable. Like, no matter how many times, it always comes back. And now it's like this, to this day. Huge, beautiful, like, probably the most famous city in the world, if not tied with, like, London. Like, you could say London is the most famous in the world. I think you could. But there's, like, Hong Kong and like, New York City, but, yeah, Americans certainly think about London that way.
Brutalist towers rise from the rubble. The welfare state expands. And crucially, people start arriving from former colonies. The Windrush generation from the Caribbean in 1948, followed by waves of immigration from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, later from Africa, Eastern Europe, everywhere.
Oh.
The 1960s bring a cultural explosion. Swinging London, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Carnaby Street, Mary Quant. For a moment, London feels young again. The next few decades are rockier. Economic decline, strikes, terrorism from the IRA. By the 1980s, the Docklands are abandoned, the East End is neglected. Then comes massive redevelopment. Canary Wharf rises from the old docks. The financial sector booms. London reinvents itself as a global financial centre.
This is cool because it's like this is so recent that I've heard of many of these things, but there's actually some details here. This is extremely recent stuff, but there's still some stuff here I didn't know. 21st century. Okay, we're here. We made
The
it.
21st century starts with the Millennium Dome, an expensive flop that later becomes the O2 Arena. But
Oh,
London keeps growing. The 2012 Olympics transform East London, bringing investment and infrastructure. The city passes 9 million people, the most since before World War II.
wow. 9 million people. That's crazy.
Modern London is defined by its diversity. Over 300 languages are spoken here. Entire neighborhoods have their roots in different parts of the world.
That's cool. And they said like London has actually been a very diverse place, multicultural since the 60s, which I didn't know.
Brixton's Caribbean culture, Southall's South Asian community, Chinatown, Turkish Dalston, Polish Hammersmith. You can eat food from any country, hear music from any tradition, find a community from anywhere.
Cool.
The skyline keeps changing. The Shard, the Gherkin, the walkie-talkie building. Traditional architecture sits alongside glass and steel towers.
Wow.
It's controversial.
Oh my God. Look at like that. It's just the massive scope and scale of London. Like that. This is only one angle too. Like I assume it's to the sides and behind us. It like I didn't realize how big it was. This picture does a good job showing how big it is.
Constantly debated, but it's happening. London has survived Roman withdrawal, Viking raids, the
Yeah.
Black Death, the Great Fire, the Blitz. Each time it rebuilds, each time it adapts, each time it pulls in new people with new
Absolutely.
ideas. That's what makes London, London.
Absolutely.
It's messy, crowded, expensive, complicated, and it's been that way for 2,000 years. Thanks for watching. Creating videos like this.
Wow. That was insane. I wasn't expecting all that. But honestly, that's like one of the most fascinating history lessons I've ever had the privilege of hearing. This was a cool video, and it's cool that they were able to use like AI generated video, which is sometimes annoying, but here it was like very helpful and cool to visualize all this. And I didn't know the history of London was so freaking crazy. It's insane. Like, Americans have no idea. I had no idea. So, this was awesome. Gives me a new appreciation for like this part of British history that I was missing out on. And it's important stuff too. So, I'm really glad I took a look at this. So, anyway, if you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on the history of London and all this stuff. That'd be cool to hear about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.